strategic environmental study. And I call this environmental history and material flow analysis pointing at environmental damage accumulation. The background of this work is that MFA can play an important role in the enhancement of the quality of design of public policies, the plans and programs under the strategic environmental assessment framework. And two questions lead me to this. Are you all listening? Well,
it would be helpful, I think, if you did work. Yes.
Okay. And two questions lead me to work on this issue. First, can the incorporation of MFA into strategic environmental assessment tool show the history of environmental impact and predict future social and environmental problems? And two, can this incorporation lead to better environmental management practices than those that are actually being implemented? Okay. I built this, well, I don't think the images are good here, but we have the inputs here, which are economic system, the output, usually the economical output, but the missing flows under this territory are not being considered into decision making, at least in the case that I'm going to show you right now. I used the specific economic chain Sorriso, that's the place in Brazil, which produces mainly agricultural products. And I analyzed it under a simplified material flow assessment. Okay. And we have the inputs here, fertilizers, agrochemical, fuels, and machines. Most of these inputs comes from other parts of the world, it's not produced locally. We have the crops that goes out of the Sorriso social and ecological system, goes to every place of the world. And what Sorriso is using to produce these crops are the water, the soil of its ecological system, and the contamination and emissions are being accumulated into this specific territory. The main characteristics of the system is the biggest agricultural output in Brazil, this specific place. It is a high input agriculture, which needs large amounts of external resources necessary to maintain high productivity. And here we can pick up the concept of techno-ecosystem from Adam, which is ecosystem made by man, which needs high inputs of energy, high inputs of materials to produce high inputs of economical revenue at the end of the cycle. And what we are seeing today in this specific case is that environmental burden is scaling up. Health and environmental problems are appearing. Informational feedbacks are showing signs of unsustainability of this economic change. And this accumulation of problems are occurring as the economic production grows. I'll show you some pictures. Unfortunately, the color of the graph is not so good. But this specific city in Brazil produces sorghum, soybeans, I cannot see here, corn, mamona, which produces oil for biofuel, beans, rice, and cotton. Yeah. It raised from less than 25,000 tons of output to almost 300,000 tons of output of material. Those outputs need, it raises its output, and it related to the land use that are planted in this specific city, which has its consequential impact on biodiversity. Yes, this region is located at the north of Brazil, near the north of Brazil, which has the tropical forest, the Amazon forest, right there. So the increased output is resulting on impacts on biodiversity and this increasing output of economic output is resulting on increasing impacts on land use and consumption of resources all over the chain. For just an example, to produce in a 1 hectare of land in Sociedade, you need 1.7 kilograms of herbicides per year, 2 tons of calcium carbonate per year to correct the soil, 15 kilograms of pesticides a year, 563 kilograms of fertilizers, 80 liters of fossil fuel, diesel, to machines, and 70 kilograms of seed that are not produced there. And some hidden flows are associated to this production. Water, at least 50% of the total is not incorporated into biomass. And this 50% goes to the soil and the rivers of the region. The runoff of fertilizers, at least 50% of the fertilizers are not used as well at the production system. And soil erosion, 10 tons per hectare per year that are carried into the rivers of the region. And additionally, some health concerns started to appear too in this specific municipality. Human breast milk was found to be contaminated with agrochemicals. 100% of the samples collected at the city was found to have pesticides in it. So that's a big problem that's not being captured by the analysis that must be done before policies being implemented. And the use of agrochemicals are above the recommended levels. This was a work from 2009, and if you have the consequence here of this kind of inadequate use of agrochemicals. Those are environmental concerns that I show you. The land use scaled up. And water quality impact, the runoff of pesticides and fertilizers are affecting the health conditions of the cities on the river. And my question, after all this picture, is how to use MFA as a tool for better policy design. Well, one of the findings that I'd like to bring here is that there is this specific tool, the strategic environmental assessment. This is an environmental management tool, such as environmental burden of proposed public policies, plans, and programs. I presuppose here that every economic chain has a policy which gives support to it. So if you can incorporate the MFA into the design of the policies, you should be able to see the history, the environmental history of this specific place, and then you can predict what's going to happen with this specific place and take the adequate measures to reduce the environmental impact, environmental social impact of specific policies being applied in this territory. Well, around a little, this is a multi-stakeholder processes which aim aims at designing better policies and avoiding undesired negative impact on the environment. It's a multi-stakeholder process. So you give information to people to decide what they are going to do, what kind of economic change you are going to use in your territory. Yes, because it's your health that's being affected by these policies too. And most of the times you don't know what kind of hazard you are going to suffer. And why to use MFA into this framework? The better the environmental information is, the better environmental feedback can interfere on decision-making processes. But this specific concept here is that we have feedbacks, environmental feedbacks, we have informational feedbacks from ecological systems. So these informations must arrive at us or at the persons or at the people who are going to decide for what kind of economy. MFA can be a tool to help the decision makers to choose the best environmental management initiatives to tackle the social and environmental problems, to invest in cleaner production strategies. MFA can be used in SEA because it shows the history and can predict the negative impacts of policy implementation before it will be. My main proposal here is that the MFA should enter into the identification, prediction, and evaluation step of the strategic environmental assessment. And the MFA2 can be used to analyze the environmental history of territories, specifically to total material requirements and the hidden flows that cause the most of the impacts, and helps to predict the total environmental burden that we accumulate according to different production and environmental management scenarios. These are the conclusions. In case of efficient source of environmental burden information to the decision-making participatory processes, MFA can inform the population about the impact of the production processes in their lives and to design policies with sustainability background under the CSEA framework. And the use of both combined will result in better design plans with better strategies to tackle environmental and social impacts. This is my contact. Thank you.